Good morning. And thank you to the gentlemen of the band for that beautiful music. Our theme for this month is spirituality in action. And our affirmation is, I celebrate the holy days because I can. And there are so many holy days to celebrate. So many traditions do their own thing. And we are fortunate at the Center for Spiritual Living that we have the freedom to explore other faith traditions and cultures. So I'd like to begin by describing a season for you. It's an old-fashioned season, a very festive season, and little children everywhere are filled up with building excitement because there is an anticipation of receiving gifts. And some of them are even anticipating staying up all night long. Houses in the neighborhood are being decorated outside, and inside, evergreens are being brought in, or at least boughs of holly, dressed up with twinkling stuff and ornaments. And it's a time of generosity. It's a time of hope. It's a time of feasting and being with loved ones. It's also a time of sending special greetings, cards, messages of love to people who are further away. It's a time to sing songs. It's a time to make merry. It's a time to celebrate. Clearly, I'm describing Christmas. Not really. I'm describing a tradition that is thousands and thousands of years old, and we don't even know how old it is. It certainly could have been a description of Christmas, and we will get to why that is so in a moment. However, the season that I just described to you originates among non-Christian people before Jesus of Nazareth was born. I'm talking about the winter solstice. Side note, many people assume that the current celebration of Christmas comes from the Bible. It doesn't. No. Nowhere in the Bible does it instruct Christians to celebrate the birth of Jesus of Nazareth. It certainly doesn't say so. The Gospels don't say we are to throw a party. It doesn't. It does not. It doesn't say we should invite our relatives, that we should exchange the perfect gift and fill the land filled up with plastic wrapping. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say cut down an evergreen tree and put it up in your house. It doesn't say roast a ham. In fact, these are decidedly unbiblical things to do. The Catholic Encyclopedia Dictionary says about Christmas that in the early days of the church there was no such feast. You should look up the history of Christmas in the United States of America. It was even outlawed. It was for several years, in England too. It's not a biblical feast. And there's a good reason why early Christians did not celebrate the birth of Jesus. And well, for one thing, way back then even, no one knew the exact date of his birth. Then some 200 to 300 years after he had gone, someone established December 25th as the birthday of Jesus of Nazareth. And that's where the winter solstice comes in. When Christianity started to become a popular religion, there were already other older faith traditions around that had well-established holidays and celebrations, like the one I just described to you, winter solstice. There was already a party taking place in December. It's possible that the early Christian church wanted to redirect the attention of the people away from the feasts of the old winter solstice. So they began to celebrate Jesus' birthday on a day when people already had the habit of getting together and celebrating. So December 25th became the Christmas that we know it to be today. Then as more people, especially from the Western Empire and the Northern climate, converted to Christianity, you know how we are. They brought with them all of their favorite customs. They brought their ancient midwinter celebrations into Christmas. And we still have many of them today. The Yule log. In the Middle East, mistletoe, wreaths of holly, a magical gift giver, evergreens, and candles on trees. The old existing culture of winter solstice started to leak into the Christmas tradition. We can learn something from that. We ought to pause here for a moment to think about it. It's an important message in all of this about what happens when you and I dress something up to make it look like something it isn't. We've learned here at the center that you and I, we cannot make changes on the surface only. Without changing what is at the heart of something, it doesn't work well. Because the old always leaks into whatever it is. When I was a young man, 13 or 14, I read everything all the time, and I particularly loved the American science fiction writers. I loved them. I think I can say I read every single word that Frank Herbert ever wrote, and his children. I did. And you know, one of my pet peeves was when a book publisher would take a great classic and put in a new cover and a new title. There I would be with my new book and reading and say, I read this already. It reminds me of that saying in the Bible, you can't put new wine into old skins. Or the way we say it in Science of Mind is that you must change your consciousness behind the activity that you want to change. That is, if you want real, lasting change. You can't just change the outer, because the consciousness will come back as it does. You can't just change it on the outside. You've got to change the inside. And sometimes people get caught up in that, you know, the loop of changing the outer, changing partners, changing jobs, changing cities, looking for that perfect situation, but what they don't realize is wherever they show up, there they are. They haven't changed inside. So they tend to repeat the same situation in new environments. I was reading stories about people who have won the lotto, you know, people who suddenly had a lot of money poured into their lives, but it appears they did not necessarily have the consciousness, the wherewithal, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, to handle this new influx of money. So very soon they lost everything. An article in CNBC, the economist Jay Zagorski, he says that studies found that instead of getting people out of financial trouble, winning the lottery got people into trouble. Since bankruptcy rates soared for lottery winners 3 to 5 years after winning. When we're thinking about that, like what could be happening? Well, possibly one of the things is what we're talking about. When the mindset stays the same, no matter what new outfit you put on, no matter what changes you implement on the outside, eventually the old mindset will come through. It will govern. I have to change my mind in order to change my life, and that's the tricky part. Because I prefer to have my life change, but I don't want to change a thing. So although the Mass celebrating Christ's birth was dated on December 25th, the spirit of the winter solstice was so strong that its traditions just kept on leaking in. Because winter solstice is primal. It goes beyond religion. It focuses on something that is very meaningful to us and our ancient ancestors: fire and light. Before electricity, life was connected to fire and light. The sun was important. People had to get their tasks done in the light. So when winter started to arrive and the days were getting shorter and colder, there was some nervousness. The question is, will this change? Will the light come back? And then when it did, when the days began to lengthen, there was a big deal worth celebrating. Traditions like this can help us stay rooted in our cultural history. Traditions can help us learn from those who went before us. Traditions help us appreciate what we have today by comparison. When it comes time for winter solstice, I try to make a moment to really appreciate and be grateful for electricity. I can't imagine life relying entirely and only on the sun for light and warmth. Now, my calendar on my smart device, it tells me that December 21 is winter solstice. That's the moment when the Earth's axis is tilting most directly away from the sun. So that makes it the longest night of the year and the time of most darkness, when it is said that everything is uncertain. When things stand still. Now, if it weren't for my device and my calendar, I wouldn't know this necessarily about December 21, because I still have to work the same number of hours all seasons. There's no particular reason for me to be aware of where the Earth's axis is tilting. And as for the cold, I have a heating system at home, and when evenings get longer, I just turn the lights on sooner. And this is the way we become disconnected from nature. Oh, and there is something dangerous about being disconnected from our Mother Earth. There was a time when people weren't. They paid closer attention to the cycles, particularly in northern climates. They observed the sun with deep interest. They created feasts and celebrations to mark its journey. The word solstice comes from the Latin, which means the sun stood still. It was a terrific moment of anxiety, but also of hope. Is it going to come back again? Our ancestors thought of this time as a time of ambiguity, neither this nor that. A mysterious and magical time. A time belonging neither to this world or the next. A time of standing still before beginning again. A time of being in the dark, of not knowing before choosing a new direction. A time of preparing with faith and trust, preparing to receive the light on its return journey. Somewhat like that time the caterpillar spends in the cocoon, Not a butterfly yet, but no longer a caterpillar. It's a time of dissolving and reintegrating. You may have been there once or twice. And so it is also a time of letting go, to make room for that which wants to emerge. In today's world, releasing ceremonies have become a regular part of celebrating winter solstice. Some like to release the previous year, the good, the bad, the in-between. Some like to release regrets, disappointments, upsets, as a way of clearing the slate for a new beginning. Some like to release their stories, relationships, dreams that they've either outgrown or moved beyond or completed as a way of making that solid. Here is a affirmative prayer. We call it a spiritual mind treatment that is intended to help in times like this. It's to release and forgive the past and live right now. It's based on a treatment written by Kathleen Kearney, and I adapted it for winter solstice. Here are the words of the prayer. There is one life in and through each moment, one infinite presence enveloping everything and everyone, excluding nothing and no one. A presence that is love, wisdom, the source of all. This one life is eternal and always present in all circumstances and life adventures. It is the flow of good that creates and blesses all creation. It is the living Spirit Almighty. I share that life. It includes me. As the realization of Spirit's life flows through me, and as I open to it, love and wisdom, joy, and the reality of my connection with all things becomes evident. It is what I am. I am open to the guidance that the living Spirit Almighty, as love, inspires in me. I am open to its wisdom to guide me through this time of releasing and forgiving. I tenderly open my heart to the realization that I am connected with everything that has occurred in my life and with everything that is yet to come. I tenderly accept that everything has its time and place, and that through it all, my spiritual evolution is unfolding as it should. I'm grateful for being exactly where I am right now, and for the wisdom to release that which no longer serves me. I appreciate all who share this moment of life with me. I honor every event, conversation, or circumstance that has brought me to a deeper understanding of divinity in my life. I cherish the understanding that I have the power to plant new seeds, start new adventures, form new connections. This realization allows me to hold gently any ideas of past hurts, disappointments, and frustrations while letting them go. I claim my freedom from any thoughts or memories that may obstruct my view and acceptance of the good that is mine right now. I choose to be right here and right now in the heart of the living Spirit Almighty. This breath I breathe now, right now, it feels lighter, like a blessing of gratitude. I'm giving thanks for everything that brings me back to my awareness of being connected to all that is. And going forward now, I release this word, letting the infinite presence as the law manifest that which I have spoken with faith. Oh, wouldn't it be nice to have that prayer on a piece of paper to carry around? Yeah. Well, good news for you. Yeah. But as you know, I never give anything away for free. Here's the deal. You have to come and say hello to me, and I'll give it to you afterwards. And I'll be standing outside next to the winter solstice mailbox. We've created one, and when you come and get this, there's a table there with cards where you have the opportunity to write down that which you would like to release and let go of. And then you put it in the winter solstice mailbox. And after today, I'm going to collect it all up. You don't have to write your name on. I'm not reading it. Maybe I should. I'm going to collect it all, and I'm going to take it out to a safe place. I'm not going to have a burning ceremony here. It's too triggering, We're not going to do that. No. I'm going to take it to a safe place, and I'm going to burn it all. And to make sure that I did it, I'm going to video record the burning and play the video for you tomorrow so you can see it all going up. It was actually next week is solstice. This is the prep work. Oh. What I love about seasonal festivities like winter solstice is that it can reconnect us to the natural world if we let it. And also to the invisible power that runs through it. I don't want to lose track of that. It's so easy to overlook that in our modern lives. Midwinter solstice celebration was a way of renewing community bonds, saying hello to each other. Bonds with the natural cycles, with God, and with each other. So I invite you, Saturday, December 21, to pause, to be still for a moment. You will have already done your releasing work through this ceremony or one that you do on your own. And so you have the opportunity then to just pause and be in the sacred stillness of non-movement in the dark. And to remember the message of solstice. And it's this: that the light always returns. Now, in ancient calendars, due to adopting different calendars and some inaccuracies, winter solstice took place on what was December 25th. Now, whether or not Christians deliberately timed Christ's Mass to coincide with the winter solstice, I don't know. I can't be sure of that. Perhaps it seemed fitting to celebrate the birth of the individual who so magnificently realized the cosmic consciousness at a time that was already consecrated to the light. Both Christ's Mass and solstice were meant to honor the birth of the light and to affirm our hope for the renewal of the world. Now, we, in metaphysical traditions, we see this time of year also as an opportunity to celebrate the birth of a child whose life, whether historically correct or not, whose life has come to be synonymous with love. At least that's how we think of Jesus at the center. An emblem of love, acceptance, and forgiveness. We view this time as an opportunity to welcome back that love, because from time to time, we forget it. When things get dark, when we are in the cocoon, no longer able to live as we were, but not yet in possession of our butterfly wings. Now, whoever decided to place the date of the Christ child story on the winter solstice was a genius. It's magnificent timing. Because whether we are Jewish or Christian or pagan or Hindu or whatever we are, we have that primal response in us from our ancient foreparents that responds to the earth's message that says, no matter how dark it is, no matter that the sun should stand still, no matter what has gone before, no matter if my heart is cold, no matter that the world seems covered in darkness. Somewhere in me is a small but magnificent light which is sufficient to rekindle the light necessary for my path. Somewhere in me, the sun is shifting and turning back to brighten my days. Somewhere in me, the memory of spring is starting to rustle. I invite you to take a deep breath in with me and to exhale into a moment of silent contemplation. Let the next breath you take be deeper than the one before, followed by a sigh.